What is good, everybody? We are doing a reaction this time for the video, and we are going to react to my boy Lewis Esquire. I've been subscribed to this guy since Dragon Ball Fighter Z days. You know what I'm saying? He has a lot more knowledge than me when it comes to fighting games. So we're gonna be going over about whether or not Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is a competitive game, which you can see from the title over here, which is not for him, and we'll see his case, and also I'll tag on to myself and what I've been noticing. And like I said, he has a lot more knowledge than me because he's been playing a lot of fighting games. He's been known as a fighting games player, and you know I respect his opinions because he has a lot more knowledge than me when it comes to that stuff. So let's react to this. You know what I'm saying? That's my boy. You know what I'm saying? I'll leave his video down in the description. If you guys want to see him. You know what I'm saying? He's a very good YouTuber. You know what I'm saying? So nonetheless, let's react to this right now. So you know what I'm saying?
Is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero a serious competitive fighting game?
I've not done this in a while, but let me raise it up a little bit. Okay, sorry, raise up.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Little Sasakura, the one who never knows best. And in today's video, I want to open up a discussion and basically give my opinion, my thoughts, my answer to the question posed at the start of this video. And I might have already given my answer based on however I titled this, but basically, is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero a competitive fighting game? If you just want
to my answer, obviously, I'm gonna say this: it is not a fighting game. I don't think Bandai Namco is promoting it as a fighting game. Is not doing anything to make it seem like it's not say fighting, competitive fighting game. They're not making it seem like it's a competitive fighting game. They're not doing any balances they're not doing too much balances to make it seem like go towards that direction. It seems more like a party game than, you know, like something where you have to go, like people go in tournaments to you know, take this a lot more serious than it should be. Which, you know, either way, like people always going to hold tournaments regardless of, because it's Sparking Zero. So it's a very popular game right now for fighting wise. So obviously they're going to try to utilize tournaments out of this. But from the recent tournament that I've seen, my goodness, that was bad. They need to do a lot of fixes to change that, because these matches be going all the way up to timer, which is 10 minutes because of Yajirobe. So it's pretty bad. I don't think it's competitive at all. It seems more like a party game where you can obviously play online and just have some fun, you know, not to take at least a lot serious, but a lot more than what people think they should be. But nonetheless, it does not take the fun away from this game as it's supposed to be.
my honest answer straight from the jump, I'm gonna say no, and we're gonna discuss why I feel that way in this video, and I'm gonna give, you know, my reasoning, my logic behind it, and I would love to hear how you guys feel about this and the points that I'm making in this video in the comment section down below, because this is a question that I have been getting asked a lot leading up to the release of Sparking Zero, and even more so now that the game is officially out. I've been streaming every single day since the game is released, and I get this question multiple times a day. Is the game competitive, and could I see this game at EVO, or do I think this game should be at EVO?
Hell
again,
no.
my answer is no, I don't.
Hell no, bruh. Oh, down the line, when people get a lot good at this game with all these vanishing encounters, but every game will go to timer, dog. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's already been going to timer now when we've seen these tournaments. Imagine the future when everybody start polishing more with these super counters, these vanishings, all that other stuff too. Like when they tweak, let's say if they do manage to tweak the vanishing stuff like that, and people get that down, like it's gonna, majority of the matches, if not all of them, is gonna get to timer, and it's just gonna be very boring to see a match take 10 minutes each time, despite how many people can be joining the bracket too. Like how long that's gonna be. The last one was like what, 7 hours. For the losers bracket only, bro. Like the losers bracket took 7 hours, bro. What is that? That is so long, man. It's so crazy.
I don't think it will be at EVO, nor do I think it should be. And frankly, I think it would be more harmful to the scene and to the game for it to be on that kind of stage than helpful. In my opinion, I just don't think this is that type of game, and we're going to talk about why today. Before we get into this discussion, we have to define two things. What is a fighting game, and what does it mean to be competitive? If you were to ask a bunch of people about whether or not Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is even a fighting game, a lot of people will probably say yes, but a lot of people will probably say no. And why is that? It's because of the nuance surrounding some of these words that we're using and some of these terms and phrases, especially as it pertains to the FGC or the fighting game community. When we say the term fighting game, most people are going to think of Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, maybe some
the
Guilty
traditional
Gear
fighting games. Like I said, like King of Fighters and all that stuff. What else? I know there's another one that's slipping through my mind right now. Wow, my brain is not cooperating with me right now, which sucks. What is that? Guilty Gear. Holy shit. But yeah, those are like the traditional fighting games that everybody knows. Obviously, Dragon Ball Fighter Z is obviously up there too as fighting games. Been very, very, very popular as a fighting game because it was handled really well. Obviously, until, you know, led to their own demise, aka the developers. With I don't know if it's the bigger heads that led to the demise like that, but y'all know like that. But I feel like I think Dragon Ball Fighters. I think Dark Sparking Zero is considered a fighting game, like an arena, like basically like an arena fighting game, which obviously fighting games like the main genre, and there's mini brackets, which I think arena fighting games literally Sparking Zero is literally like the main top of for that. So yeah.
Blue games of that nature. However, to others, it's a lot more simple. Isn't a fighting game just a game in which you fight in? And I would say, by definition, literal, like very, very literal definition, yes, if you fight in the game, it is a fighting game. But I think in this context, it's not necessarily that simple. But with that being said, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is what we would call an arena fighter, which is a subgenre of fighting games.
Yeah, see, like I
so
just
this
said.
would include games of, like the Naruto Storm games, the Xenoverse series, the old.
Man. If only they utilized Generations, but they would have been a debate, which I pretty feel like Sparking Zero would destroy that shit anyways. But man, if only they utilized that a lot, man. They've really flopped on that one really bad. It sucks.
The Budokai and Tenkaichi games, Sparking Zero, these are arena fighters. Yeah. This subgenre is not normally included in the conversation when we're talking about competitive fighting games that you see at EVO. But oftentimes, a lot of these games do show up offline at these events, but as side events. They're normally not super mainstream, big, popular, all eyes on me main stage games that you see.
They're not
typically, maybe the combat isn't as deep, the mechanics aren't as fleshed out.
I feel like Sparking Zero is by far, the developers are making it seem to be like, nah, we're not. This is like, as you clearly see, with the HP levels, like they're literally staying true to the Dragon Ball franchise, as you could tell. Like, literally, Whis is so untouchable. So is MUI. They have such absurd, like, obscene amount of health, like, especially compared to, like, let's say, who has, like, 2 bars of health? Like, let's say Videl, like, who has 2 bars of health. MUI has like 4 bars with the super, like the fusions, all that stuff. Even though the fusion, despite how cool the fusions are, like they're so fire. Like, oh my gosh, we're saying 4 Gogeta, by far my favorite fusion. Not even debate because it's so unique at that time, and they never previewed another canon. Let's say canon fusion again for Super Saiyan 4. They didn't even mention it too, which is also why Super Saiyan 4 is my favorite form. But obviously, you see those flooding the single player matches a lot. Like a lot. Like it's crazy. But I mean, they're overpowered. Like, you're just using, not only that, like I could see that a lot of people's favorite characters are the fusions and MUI, because they're obviously they're broken, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're broken in the show and they're broken in the game, so obviously people's gonna use those characters because they're so overpowering the show and the anime, and the way they prove them is so fire, which is like, why not, you know what I'm saying? So I don't blame him for that one.
Well balanced as some of the other games. I'm generalizing a little bit here. Obviously, there could be exceptions here or there, but I'm just trying to help you understand where I'm coming from and what I mean, and again, the nuance and context behind some of these words and phrases. Also, I would offer this as an analogy. Think of it like this, right? Let's say if I use the word anime. When I say anime, there's probably an exact type of medium that comes to mind. You think of series like Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, Dandadan, My Hero Academia, right? Those are the types of series that really come to mind.
I'm not gonna hold you,
but if I ask you whether or not SpongeBob or
I mean, there are mainstream
Gumball is an anime, you might look at me kind of crazy, right? But in Japan, anime is just short.
My boy said Amazing World of Gumball.
The types of series that immediately come to mind. But if I ask you whether or not SpongeBob or The Amazing World of Gumball,
yes sir, bro. If y'all know about The Amazing World of Gumball, that is a golden show. That's a golden show. That's just such a golden show. I didn't think I'll reference that.
You might look at me kind of crazy, right? But in Japan, anime is just short for animation. Yeah. So it's not really incorrect to call what we would normally call cartoons anime, because that's how they would refer to it. So Dragon Ball is an anime, SpongeBob's an anime, but here in the States, we don't call SpongeBob an anime. When we say cartoon anime, we're referring to a specific medium, a specific style. So likewise, in the FGC, when we're talking about fighting games, we're not necessarily including every subgenre of the overall arcing genre. It's more so more of a niche. Core 8 Gaming actually made a video discussing the different types of genres and subgenres of fighting games. It doesn't really talk a whole lot about that nuance and go into depth about it the way that I wish it did, but I do still think it's a video that's worthwhile watching. And if I remember, I'll try to include it in the description down below. But yeah, with that out of the way, what makes a game competitive? So first and foremost, let's look at the literal definition of the word competitive, because I think that is important to first establish. So if we jump over here, we can see that by definition, competitive means relating to or characterized by competition, having or displaying a strong desire to be more successful than others. So this is the dictionary definition of the word, but in the FGC, we're not necessarily using the dictionary definition of the word because, again, nuance is an important factor here. Because if you think about it, any game at all where there is online multiplayer and you're pitting one or more players against one another,
that's called competitive.
That is competitive. That is competition. You are literally competing against one another. But obviously that's not what we mean by something being competitive. Even something as far as like having a ranked mode in your game doesn't necessarily mean that the game is competitive, because while you are competing against each other, there is more context to it than that. When someone asks me whether or not a game is competitive, I ask myself, is this a consistent, functional, fair, balanced game that creates an equal playing field that caters to multiple players and play styles that will allow them to compete against one another and showcase a difference in skill and ability to wield the characters and mechanics in the game and showcase a gap in that skill. In my opinion, most of these arena...
Yo, that's what I'm saying. We're going to be back to him because, like I said, he has a lot of more knowledge when it comes to the fighting game prowess than I do. He's mostly, like I said, he's very... what's it called? He's known as basically like a fighting game content creator, which is basically how I found him as for Dragon Ball FighterZ. So, like I said, for all this stuff, you would not get
have the level of consistency.
Well, obviously with a little research, with some research, yeah, I would.
That puts it on par with some of those other games.
It'll take me a lot more longer to
Tekken 8 or Street Fighter 6, or even just those franchises in general. Now, with that being said, I don't mean to like diminish anime games necessarily and say that like, oh, they can never ever be competitive, or if it's an arena fighter it's automatically disqualified. I do think that as they currently are, being in that field does make it immediately lose some merit because there is an inherent difference. And even those games in that echelon do have their fair share of jank, balance issues or whatever, but they cater toward the idea of we want this game to be fair and balanced and constantly develop these games with that in mind and make those adjustments, so on and so forth. Whereas
this is why Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, King of Fighters. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna make another series, which I'm pretty sure they will. But like those type of games cater towards being to be pushed out as more as for like a competitive scene, rather than, you know, arena fighting games who just let you play as a character as broken as they are into the anime and portray that into the game. Let you play to make you feel those characters as powerful as they were in the anime into the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's say MUI, obviously, like, he be dodging like 99% of these hits. He could do that in the game, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what he does. They're not trying to cater towards the competitive set, because that's not what they're aiming for. They're aiming for a more casual and party-friendly mindset for the players to do. Instead of, like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I don't think they're going to do any crazy adjustments to balance out the game anytime soon. Probably for, like, what's that called? For mechanic-wise, for vanishing-wise, yes. I'm pretty sure they're going to touch on that pretty soon. I do not know when that's going to be. We still even got the update for the Yajirobe. It's, for my knowledge, as of right now, someone got the update for Yajirobe. And it's like the 24th. We have about, like, 7 days, like a week left before we're hitting November. And they said mid-October, so I don't know. So we'll see when that's going to be. But as of right now, yeah, I don't think Sparking Zero is ever going to be competitive at all. Which, if they do manage to get to that point, which I obviously, like I said, I obviously doubt it's going to be, then I want to see how it's going to go, because I don't think that's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to take it. But let's continue on this video.
I don't believe this game is going to do that really necessarily. We have a hint of that so far, but you know what I mean? It's got a lot to prove. The developer's intention with the game and the overall balance of the roster as it pertains to a fighting game plays a large factor to me in whether or not the game could ever be considered competitive. And when you look at modern fighting games like a Tekken 8 or Street Fighter 6 or Mortal Kombat 1, these games are being designed and developed with the idea of tournament play, world tours, esports in mind. They're taking into account this game being played. They're taking into account the idea of this game being played offline in a competitive setting, players competing against one another for money, them being part of a world tour, accumulating these points,
which is cool.
Spectators, people in the audience.
Which is cool how developers be thinking that way, because obviously they're thinking, hey, obviously we're gonna make a game, and we're gonna make the game for people to try to make money off of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy, which is kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? AKA obviously going to world tours, like he said before, world tours, and doing it in a competitive set offline world, which is, like I said, which is very clean. Which I like. I like them when they think that way, because obviously helping people who's actually good at the game or actually practice to get good at the game to compete with others who done the same thing to compete for money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just so cool.
audience watching people play this game at the highest level. While that may not have always been the case for these games, and they all had to start somewhere, that is where we are at in the modern era. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero was not designed to be at EVO. It was not designed to be at tournaments. Not to say that you can't run your own events and have some fun and have its own scene, but it's not trying to be in that realm or in that lane or in that echelon. It's trying to be something else. And I think it's only players that are trying to push it to be alongside.
No. Sometimes, bro, I'm not gonna lie, the community in this park is a little kind of crazy, bro. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. It's just a little kind of crazy what I be seeing from Twitter and Reddit and all that stuff. But it is what it is, man.
You know, the traditional.
I'm not gonna say all y'all. If it doesn't apply to you, then obviously you don't have to say it. But like I'm saying, like the people that do be acting like that, they know who they are. I don't think they care either way. But
whatever. The developers themselves said that this game would not be balanced. They designed this roster to be balanced in a way that reflects their power in the series, which is why you have a character like Master Ultra Instinct Goku or a character like Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah, but I hate Whis. I'm gonna point that out. Whis is so goddamn broken, dog. Holy shit.
Gogeta, who are two of the most powerful characters in the game.
He's anime, so I get it. Why?
And you feel that difference in character power if you're playing Krillin or like a Namek Saga character or a Sand Saga character. Like if you're playing Raditz, you're gonna have a really, really hard time fighting Jiren or Beerus or Z Broly. You know what I mean? It's gonna
I've not won a match with somebody who uses a high end character yet. Meaning like I don't think I've beaten anybody that uses a fusion. I definitely not beat somebody with Beerus. Like every time I'm using Beerus, they've been bodying the goddamn living shit out of me. Like they decimated my ass. I have not won. I don't think I barely faced MUIs. But I did beat a Yajiro because I was just basically just rushing the entire game. I was not letting him have any slot to do any sense of me. But nonetheless, like majority of the top tier players, I've not beaten because they're so broken. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like using Piccolo because obviously that's my main. I may hold my own, but like nah, man, like it's crazy, bro. Because obviously it makes sense.
Abundantly clear.
It's very hard.
Yes, character power varies in all games. Tier
lists. Like I said, it's hard. It's hard to not. I've been pausing a lot, but like I just want to put obviously I'm putting my intro as a reaction. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let him play it the whole through without me saying anything. But yeah, but that's the point of it, because obviously those characters are clean, and they're not only that they're clean, they're powerful as hell, and they're clean. So obviously there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be catering to use those type of characters, which I don't blame him. If I don't give a hell, you know what I'm saying? If I don't give a fuck about using Piccolo, obviously I'm gonna be using Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta 99% of the time, you know what I'm saying? Or Super Saiyan Blues Vegeta and Gogeta. Like majority of the time I'll be using the fusion. I'm sorry if you guys hear that, but I'm not done my water bottle, but yeah, I'll be using the fusion all the time because why they're cold as hell. You know what I'm saying? They're cold as hell, and not only they're cold, they're powerful as hell too. So I mean, it is what it is. Like it's just how it is.
But I feel like the character power in a game like Sparking Zero is drastically different from the top tier to the bottom tier compared to, again, the more traditional fighters. Yeah. In my opinion, and when it comes to my expectations, Sparking Zero is not a game that's going to get regular balance updates with the idea of fairness and equality, I guess, in mind. They aren't going to be making a ton of changes to the game with the idea of making it more fair for competition, because that's just not what they had in mind when designing this game. Now, with that being said, like I feel like I'm playing both sides a tiny little bit, even though I'm obviously leaning towards one side more than the other, because I have talked about things I want to see get changed in the game. I obviously play fighting games, but I also play arena fights. I've been playing. Bro, if I go back there, I mean, I talked about it before. I have Budokai 1, 2, and 3, Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3, Ultimate Ninja 1 through 4, every single Storm game. I've played.
Okay, like I said, I'm gonna tell y'all. I mean, I don't know if y'all seen this with my older videos, but I grew up as a Budokai kid. I always wanted Budokai Tenkaichi. I never managed to get a single hand on the series. That's why when y'all see like my first couple of videos, obviously it's like the intro. I did like the trailers for Dragon Ball Fighter, Sparking Zero. But besides that, I was doing like the Budokai Tenkaichi series because that was my first time ever actually playing the series, and I just wanted to make it to a video. And obviously I didn't get to finish it because Sparking Zero came out, and goddamn Budokai Tenkaichi 2 is goddamn long as shit, bro. Like I did have my fair share of fun because that shit was fun as hell. Learning to get the control of the Tenkaichi series, I never managed to get my hand on those. The Storm series, I got every single one of them. I had every single one of the Storm series because that was the time I got my first ever 360. My brother got that as for me as a gift. And ever since then, like I was hooked on the Storm series too. So obviously like the PS2 era, I had the Budokai series, and then when it gets like the 360 era for me, I got the Storm series, and I was playing the living hell out of those. So that's why I say like the Storm series and Budokai series, I was really good as hell, but I never managed to ever land my hands on a physical copy to play Budokai Tenkaichi. So that's why you see my first like every couple videos was me playing the series, and like I said, it was fun as hell. Budokai Tenkaichi 1 was absolutely beautiful. Like I loved it. Despite I was annoyed by majority of the fights, it was still such a fun experience for me.
Played them all. Xenoverse 1 and 2. First Limit 1 and 2.
Xenoverse 2. Oh my god,
all them games is backed on that shelf. I ain't gonna go grab them all right now, but matter of fact, yes I will. Yes I will. This isn't even all of them. These are just the ones I could just go grab off the shelf.
Oh man. If y'all know about the Ultimate, Naruto, I'm not gonna lie, Naruto was rivaling Dragon Ball, bro. We're fighting games. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Naruto in the PS2 era. Holy the Ultimate Ninja series, the Clash of Ninja series, I had all those, bro. It's so crazy because I said I didn't get a single Budokai Tenkaichi game, but I had damn near every single Naruto game for fighting wise. But no, I'm not gonna lie to you. Back then in the PS2 era, like Naruto was holding its own because the fighting games for them for the Ultimate Ninja series and the Clash of Ninja series was absolutely beautiful. I had the Clash of Ninja series on the GameCube, which you see from I think you see in the middle area. You see Clash of Ninja. I had both Clash of Ninja and Clash of Ninja 2. Those series were so fun, and I was playing the living. I feel like Clash of Ninja 2 has me like I was playing the living hell out of that. That's probably been my most. I think Clash of Ninja 2 and then Budokai 3 was my most played, and then obviously after that would be the Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. But holy shit, man, bro, those arrows, man, I was playing the living hell out of those games, bro. Holy shit, I wasn't like you see Raging Blast. I wasn't a really fan of Raging Blast 2. I did have a copy of Raging Blast 2. The story mode was pretty interesting to say the least, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm starting off track, but it's just going down nostalgia road. But let's get on with the video. I'm going down.
There's a few more over there, but like I've been outside for a very long time.
Dragon Ball Saga sucked though. I completed that game in one day.
I don't think I have to show you every fighting game I own because we can go from Tekken 1 all the way up to Tekken 8 and plenty of Street Fighter games, MK. You know what I'm saying? So like I have experience in both genres and I feel like that makes me qualified enough to say that there's a pretty big difference between these games and the games that I normally play, I guess, on the channel, like even a Dragon Ball Fighters or a Tekken 8 or Tekken 7 or Guilty Gear Strive, Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6, Grand Theft Auto versus Rising. Those games are designed very, very differently with very different intentions. These games, while they do have some level of skill it requires to play them at a higher level, and there can be a skill gap, are designed to be more fun and more casual compared to the other games that are designed to have a much higher ceiling and a better demonstration of what it means to be a top player in that game. At least in my opinion. I personally don't think a game like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is quite refined enough mechanically or honestly even functional enough to be taken as seriously as some of those more traditional fighting games. Even if we take balance out of the equation, there's just too many bugs, glitches, inconsistencies that just don't make it a reliable enough game to be on that tier. But I also think that that's perfectly fine. The game doesn't have to be Tekken. It doesn't have to be Street Fighter. It can just be its own thing. It doesn't have to get tossed into a room where it doesn't belong. I think if we allow the game to be itself, it's a lot more fun and more enjoyable that way.
God damn right. Holy shit, he is speaking facts right there.
Let's talk about TNS. There is a weekly tournament that is held on twitch.tv/Tampa Never Sleeps, aka TNS, where they host a plethora of different games. And most recently, they hosted Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And to be honest, the event was kind of a mess. Now, I say this with nothing but the utmost respect for TNS and Tampa Never Sleeps. A little bit of how it ran might be a little bit their fault, but a lot of it is the game's fault as well, because again, the game is just not really meant to be played that way. And yeah, it was rather funny. Okay, there was a lot of cheese, a lot of brokenness. The event ran on for a very long time.
Matter of fact, I was watching it through a stream because I wasn't expecting it to. I didn't expect them to host. I didn't expect it to host an Sparking Zero event that quickly. So when I saw this, I was very confused. I was actually kind of intrigued to see how it goes down because, like I said, I was not thinking it would be hosted that quickly. And my God, that shit was it was so long. It was just nothing but Yajirobis and fusions. Yajirobe and fusions. It was tough, bro. It was a pain, bro.
Much longer than those events normally run. TNS is an event that typically, let's say for Tekken 8, will run for 45 hours. This event ran for over 7 hours, and that's with them even kind of skipping over some matches and not showing as much as they normally would in the sake or for the sake of the event not running until 6 a.m. I am not exaggerating when I say this, okay? I watched the entire tournament from start to finish on my own stream. There was a set that took 40 minutes for 2 matches to be played. I believe it was Losers Finals. Losers Final went on for 40 minutes and a total of 2 games got played. There were so many matches that went down the timer because of stall mechanics and strategies, like Android 19 and 20 on the same team.
Oh my god, I literally forgot about the androids. Holy shit, bro! The absorbing characters are so annoying too. Holy shit, I literally forgot about those characters. Bro. Bro, their grabs, their moves, bro. Yo, their absorbing mechanics are so goddamn annoying, but that's literally what they do. That's what Android 19 and 20 does, and Cell. Those characters are so goddamn annoying, and I hate y'all for using that character. Bro, but it's so annoying, bro. Because if y'all saw from my Get Go With Me series, I think in one of the episodes, y'all saw so the Cell character, that guy was trying to absorb the hell out of my health and try to it was, oh my god, it was so bad.
Cell, and also like again functional errors within the game itself and having to restart and things like that. But even let's just say like bugs, glitches, game crashing aside, there were other sets and other matches that were 2-0 and it took 20 to 30 minutes, like 30 minutes plus to complete for a 2-0 set. Crazy. That's ridiculous. And then you get to the point where you have to create a rule set outside of the game so that you can have some sort of structure and a reasonable format to run this at some sort of event. And to me, when you have to go outside the game and create an extensive rule set in order to run the game in a tournament setting, I think that itself is evidence that the game is lacking in some sort of competitive integrity and wasn't designed to be in that type of environment.
Yeah, we were
compared
pushing
to some
that
other games where it's just like
point,
you turn the game on, go to versus mode. Hey, whoever wins 2 games first, you win, you advance on to the next round. Now, of course, like every tournament has its own sort of rule set, but I feel like with a game like Sparking Zero, you got to do stuff like it has to be this timer, this game mode. Are we banning these characters? You have to have character bans, stage bans. Like it goes a lot deeper. And you know, I've seen people bring up games like Smash, and really, well, I shouldn't even say games. It's really just been Smash. People like to bring up Smash Bros. The vast majority of people don't consider Smash part of the FGC, and it was at Evo for a while and it's not anymore, and it's just typically more looked at as its own thing that's adjacent to the fighting game community but not really part of it.
What the hell is Smash Bros? It's like a platform fighting game, I think. I haven't watched the Smash tournament in a long time, bro. I honestly, I forgot about Smash. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. I literally forgot about Smash. I haven't played Smash in such a long time, nor have I heard about it from anything. So that's
I don't really think it serves as a good example. And honestly, even if you do want to consider it a fighting game and consider it competitive, whatever, I would still say that it's such an extreme example and that it's an outlier, it's an anomaly. There aren't too many others that are like
comparing
it.
Fighters,
and the only other things that are comparable to it are games that have just copied its exact formula that are just other platform fighters that are just trying to be Smash. That's my stance on that. You may disagree, but I don't really think Smash serves as a good example. And frankly, because there's normally such a distinction between the FGC and Smash, I feel like if you have to use that as an example or you're comparing it to that, you're kind of already losing the argument. And yeah, I mentioned it earlier before, like games like Street Fighter and Tekken, they didn't start off being these super ultra competitive, well-balanced fighting games. You know what I mean? They didn't start off being esports, even if that is where they ended up. That's not how it all began. They were a lot more buggy or broken or imbalanced and not refined. And to that, I would say, well, yeah, that was 20, 30 years ago, and they have evolved. And I would say that arena fighters are still in that evolving phase where they haven't quite met that criteria or like gotten past that threshold that I feel holds them back. I don't think that necessarily means that inherently the arena fighter genre is like doomed to always be at a certain level and that it has a hard ceiling on it, but I do think that it hasn't quite pushed past that limit just yet. There are maybe some games out there that have gotten close, but none of the ones I've played or I'm familiar with do that. I know people like to bring up like Clash of Ninja or like the Gundam games or whatever, but even those again are like very different genres of fighting games. Like the Gundam stuff I wouldn't even really call a fighting game, really. Some people may disagree with that. It is what it is. But yeah, even though you compete in these games and that there is like levels to it, there's different varying levels of skills and different ways that you use the mechanics, everything, I just feel like the ceiling is different. The intention when they're being developed is different. The balance, the consistency, the functionality. There's just so many things that separate a game like Sparking Zero from, again, the more traditional mainstream fighting games. I just don't think that they're in the same lane. I don't think they occupy the same space. And I don't think Sparking Zero has to. For whatever reason, there are some people who like are really, really pushing it. And again, I kind of played on both sides because on one hand, it's like the game is fine to just play casually, have fun, throw hands with the homies, do some cool Dragon Ball stuff. But then there's part of me as well who is, I would say, more in tune or maybe leans more toward the more serious fighting games that wants to see a bit more balance, or at least things to just be more consistent and more functional. But it's like, you know, you can't really have your cake and eat it too, and I understand that. And so like if I have to lean one way or the other, like I have my things that I prefer, but I also have an understanding of what is the most likely outcome, and I'm accepting of that. And I think the difference between myself and a lot of people I'm seeing on the internet is that they're not accepting of what it is. They have what they want, and they think that the game can be or should be that. Whereas for myself, I feel like I would like for the game to be this, but I understand. Because for example, case in point, right? I don't like super counter in the game, okay? We're gonna make a whole video talking about super counter at some point. I wish it wasn't in the game. Now I know, again, okay, because we about to get off topic for a little bit. Oh, but if they remove super counter, people just get hit in the back for free. It was never able to, if you buff revenge counter, make revenge counter works that people.
Yeah, I do kind of see his point, because we have revenge counter and super counter. They're basically the same thing, just one cost skill points, which I honestly, that right there, I don't understand the mindset of that. If y'all can enlighten me in the comments down below. Because to be honest, I don't know why they have two of the same thing but just one cost skill points. That means the super counter is like superiorly better than the revenge counter. But you know what? I don't understand about that. I don't know why that was in the game. They could do that, like he said. They could buff revenge counter, take super counter off. I honestly I personally do not have any problem with super counter. That shit is hard to time. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I heard that in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, yeah, it was like frame perfect, and it's not in this game. You could just mash it and pray that it works. Which obviously, I'm not gonna lie, I've been doing that. I've been doing that. Like, there's sometimes I do try like time it perfectly, but when I'm like getting angry type stuff, like, yeah, I'm mashing low-key. I'm not gonna hold you, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I just gotta keep it real, you know what I'm saying?
It works when people are behind you. Again, we won't talk about more in depth. It's not that I want people to just always be able to combo it no matter what, but I don't like super counter as a mechanic. In my ideal world, I would remove it from the game entirely and change the defense mechanics in a way that, you know, it's to me would be better, but separate video. That being said, I understand that that's not something that they're going to do. That's me living in dreamland, okay? And I understand that super counter is going to exist, and I have to adapt to it as it is. Maybe hope for some changes.
It's only been like 2 weeks since the game comes out, so obviously this couple months down the line, like everybody's gonna get better at this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just gonna get to a point where we're not even gonna care about that. We're gonna super counter. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just gonna have a super counter exception, like advanced exception, but like super counter. Like, you can super counter. You just have to time that shit. Like I said, it's pretty hard. But obviously, like I said, we're 2 weeks into the game. Like more down the line is gonna get crazier down the line. Like, more combos gonna get even more crazier. All that stuff, like, it's gonna get crazy down the line. Like I said, we're just in the beginning process of this.
But use it myself as well to my advantage and deal with it as it exists in the games. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between like wanting to see a change and understanding or believing whether or not that change is actually going to happen. You feel me? Anyway, at the end of the day, I feel like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero by design lacks parity, it lacks balance, it's too inconsistent, there's bugs, there's glitches, and it was designed to be more casual than it was competitive by intention, or like intentionally. So I think that we're probably better off letting the game exist as its own thing, as opposed to trying to throw it in a room that it really doesn't belong in. Because honestly, from what we've seen so far, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero at the highest and like most optimal level that we've seen up to this point really isn't that interesting to watch either. It's kind of lacking in like flair and hype, because the ideal or optimal way to play the game is to be not as aggressive, rely a lot more on defense and everything like that. Kind of like everything that they didn't like about Tekken 7 and changed in Tekken 8 to make the game more aggressive, more engaging, and more offense focused. I think what I've seen so far from Sparking Zero can be a bit less interesting. We're seeing Android 19 and 20, Dr. Wheelo, Yajirobe. These aren't characters people enjoy watching or even really playing, but they enjoy winning, so they're doing it. But you know, I don't think it's really healthy for the community or for the game or for the competitive scene of it. And if this was a game that was at Evo, that's, y'all want to see, okay, let's say it's single battles. Y'all want to see 8 UI Gokus? Oh, but what?
Oh, hell no. Like I said, y'all see, I'm starting to switch on transition over to DB battles. I can't do single battles, man. I'm losing way too much over there, dog. Too many broken characters, man. I'm just using little old Piccolo, man. Like, he's strong, but he ain't UI, bro. We don't have no orange Piccolo yet, nigga. Like, nah, son. DP battles is obviously been the wave. I just trying to see how single battle is. Yeah, I can see why DP battles away, my boy. Like, that's too much. Even DB battles have a, obviously fair share of problems, but it ain't worse than single.
Leroy Japan, yeah, that was an outlier that everyone clowns on Tekken for that happening, and they nerfed and fixed that shit immediately. I don't think they're gonna nerf UI Goku to the ground in this game. It's not like Dragon Ball Fighters, right? Let's say you do DP battles, okay? Then you do like all these regen teams, Android 19, 20, Cell, Yajirobe, stall teams, where every single game is going to timeout. Oh, but you reduce the time. It's like, again, there you go, create an external rule set. Okay, we're banning Yajirobe, even though he's getting tweaked or whatever, I guess, or banning these characters.
Like I said, we don't know. It's insane how we are in the 24th. We have a week left of October. We do not know when the patch update is gonna be out. They said mid-October. We're probably already past the mid. I think no, we're in mid right now, so it has to be this weekend. It literally has to be this weekend. If not, then I don't know. It has to be in early November. But like I said, yeah, we're gonna see about Yajirobe because that, since like I said, the sense of me is kind of crazy though. The sense of me is kind of crazy. The absorbing characters. Honestly, I feel like this is gonna be around for a long period of time. It's on team, so Jesus.
Christ, this time limit.
It's gonna get worse.
Whatever. I can just tell. You know what I mean? And like watching TNS, I saw a lot of people in the chat who were very bored, uninterested, not amused by what they were witnessing, and like there were some moments here or there that were pretty funny, but overall it was not a great event. There's a streamer slash YouTuber named Keon, Quyon, who ran an event the next day or the day after. I believe it was the next day. He had a different rule set that was implemented that helped things run a lot smoother and made for a more interesting, fun, and exciting event. Rules that I came up with myself while I was watching TNS as to how I would run the event better. But still, even with that, it could be better. But again, at the end of the day, the game's not really designed for that, so there are certain limitations to what you can do even externally to help make things a better experience for both player and spectator. We even started having a conversation on stream where it's like, yeah, like we might not like Dragunov and Tekken, but watching Atif and Osan play against each other like in any top 8 or grand finals is going to be 11 times more interesting than watching Android 19 mirror matches or Yajirobe mirror matches. And that's pretty much where I stand. I think there's probably some other points I wanted to make or like counter arguments to myself that I probably meant to bring up and forgot. But I've been rambling on long enough. I have a lot to say on this topic, like a lot to say, but I think I've made my stance pretty clear. I don't think Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is a serious competitive fighting game. It's not meant to be, and I think that's okay. It's fun, it's casual, it's hype. I'm having a blast. Yes, I want to get better at the game, but I understand that, or at least I believe that the game has a certain ceiling to it, and not necessarily a ceiling in terms of how good players can get, but a certain level of jank and inconsistency that's going to prevent the game from going past a certain point. But again, this is mostly subjective, I would say. Like there is some fact or some like evidence to support some of this, but we can agree to disagree. But I would love to hear you guys' thoughts, your disagreements, your arguments in the comments down below. I got a lot of people asking me questions like, did I think like the JoJo's game was competitive? Did I think Storm 4 was competitive? And
I've never, I mean, I know about JoJo, but I've never actually played JoJo. I've never played any JoJo games. Obviously, I know about the series. And obviously watch the series. Like I said, it's a pretty good series. I really like the series. My opinion, unpopular. I'm not gonna. Oh, I'm getting on top of it, bro. I'm getting on top of it. What am I talking about?
We mean in the FGC, because when people are trying to ask or say these games competitive, they're not talking about like, oh, we compete in these games and there's a rank mode and things like that. Because that's not what you mean. Because if that's what you mean, then like, yeah, we can objectively answer those questions. But y'all want to put the game in the same category as Tekken and Street Fighter, and it's not the same as Tekken and Street Fighter, and it's not close to those games, honestly, in that sense, in that context, in that nuance. So if that's the realm you're trying to put them in, then the answer is no. But can they be their own thing? Can they have their own scene? Can you run your own events with your own rules and things like that? Absolutely. We're already doing that, and it doesn't have to be anything more than that, or at least it doesn't have to be in the same lane as those other fighting games. Let Sparking Zero be its own thing, because that's what it wants to be. And again, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't want certain changes, or I'm not going to talk about certain things I do or don't like, or how I would tweak or fix certain things, because I will. I do, right? But with a certain level of understanding. There are certain things that I think are also within the interest of fun, more so than the sake of competition, and there could be a balance of both. Again, how much they're actually going to tweak about this game and upcoming balance patches, updates, whatever, who really knows? I don't expect there to be major changes gameplay-wise or mechanic-wise to this game, but I'm kind of hoping for it. But I promise it's with good intentions. My heart's in the right place. I only have the game's best interest at heart. You feel me? But if things don't really change that much, then it is what it is.
That's true.
We either accept the game for what it is, or we move on. If you want something more competitive, or something that's going to be on the main stage at Evo, you might have to look in another direction.
Yeah, like Tekken, all that.
I think I've rambled on long enough.
But that's pretty much the video right there. Like I said, he made a lot of valid points. But like I said, it's only been 2 weeks since the game come out. Like I said, we have to wait and see about Whoa. Damn. Why he? That's. Oh. Anyways. Like I said, it's only been 2 weeks. Like I said, we'll see by later on down the line. Like I said, 2 months. Where I'm gonna wait to see, because 2 weeks. Like I said, it's not going in that direction. I don't see him doing like major changes. But like I said, we'll see that about 2 months down the line to see what change they do within the game. Obviously, what they can do about obviously the bugs and stuff like that, which I'm pretty sure they're going to obviously tackle on, because I don't think they're gonna keep bugs in the game like too much. But like I said, it's impossible to keep it, like the game is not perfect, obviously, nonetheless, like it's still like a fun game, even if we're trying to make it to a competitive scene, which is not supposed to be, which is not it wasn't intended to be to begin with. Which, you know, like I said, I don't mind, because I've been playing the game nonstop. Like this has literally been the only game I've been playing for the past like week and a half. So I've been having a blast. Nonetheless, that was my take. That was like the video for whether or not Sparking Zero is competitive, with obviously my little you know, take on it. And I want y'all just in the description below, what if y'all think Sparking Zero should be competitive or not. And nonetheless, you know what I'm saying, like and subscribe for more, man. I'm gonna be posting every single day, obviously, and like I said, I'm gonna be streaming soon too. Once I'm still struggling a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have it down yet, because obviously I've been trying to make sure that everything runs a lot more smoothly. So when I do run these, like I don't have like too much errors, you know. So nonetheless, that was a video. I hope y'all take care. So I'll see y'all soon. Peace out. Love y'all, man.